Yeah, time to call it in the ring, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so this week, as you as you know, our calling in the ring segment is different every single week. And this time, I outsourced some of my friends, my wrestling fan friends, to compile us a little list. This list is uh, crafted from a bunch of wrestlers and wrestling acts that uh, pretty much had their careers, at least in major promotions in North America, end by the end of the Attitude Era, which, for the sake of this, I was calling Vengeance 2001 when they finally made it an undisputed championship. So all the people on this list had the major part of their careers in major organizations in North America over by that point. Uh, we are going to get a number randomizer here, and we are going to go from 1 to 82. My friends Ben, John, and George came up with 82 names collectively. Um, we're going to put I've put this list together. Everybody is numbered. We're going to click on generate. It's going to come up with a number, and whoever winds up with the number that's clicked and it's generated, we're going to try to determine this current generation's equivalent to that performer. So, for example, we're gonna do this. We're not gonna do it with a whole list. It'd be too long and it defeats the point of a randomizer. We have not seen this list beforehand. So I mean, looking at it right now for the first time, and there are a lot of names on here, and they're very interesting names. So we're just gonna do, I think 10. I think 10 is
10
pretty
is probably
good.
good. Yeah.
So let's generate.
All
Comes up
right.
with number 51. Aaron, could you write down the numbers that we've already done so that
Okay.
we don't go back on them?
I will do that. Let me get my notepad out.
All right. Number 51 is Bad News Brown slash Allen.
Hmm.
So, who today would be a modern equivalent of Bad News Brown?
Hmm.
I think instead of you giving an answer and then me giving an answer, I think we should come to a consensus. I think we should have a discussion.
Okay.
And I think that we should put it out there. Uh, I'm thinking, and the criteria for this could range from anything about that performer, from the way that they performed, the way that their storylines went, their backgrounds that they had, anything, their personal lives, anything regarding that. So it could be literally anything. For me, Bad News Brown had a temper, and he had a legitimate, what we would call today, an MMA background.
Hmm.
It wasn't really like he was a supreme judoka. He was a great judoka.
Yeah.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he did have a couple of early MMA fights after his wrestling career was over. If I'm not mistaken, they may have been amateur fights. But because of that, and because he was mean,
Hmm.
uh, I'm going to put forth perhaps Bobby Lashley, who also has an MMA, a lot of MMA experience. He's also a big jack dude who likes to throw people around. He's not
Hmm.
as mean. I'll grant you that. And it is kind of it is kind of hard to take somebody seriously when their name is Bobby, not
Hmm.
Bob, not Robert, Bobby.
Bobby. Yeah.
Um, but that being said, that's one of those things where it is completely negated by the fact that he's this big jack dude who
Hmm.
has legitimate combat experience.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I kind of would go the other way a little bit on this. I'm looking for the big jack dude who is super mean. So our modern day powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh, you know what? You know what? I like it. I like it better. I like it
Mm,
better.
yeah, I think he
Yeah,
fits a little bit better in this
he
instance,
does.
man.
He doesn't have the martial arts, but man, he has that attitude. He will
Oh
jack you
yeah.
up,
Yeah, yeah. He don't like
jack you up.
nobody.
No,
Yeah.
I'm excited for him to return.
I
He's
am
apparently
too.
been cleared, so
I'm a
I'm really
big
hoping.
stan. Yeah, I really like Will Hobbs. I'm a
Yeah,
stan, for
they
sure.
didn't. He was a victim of the TNT title scene. Like that.
Mhm.
Oh man, that title's a mess.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I'm really hoping that they do something with him. Out. Do you think that they're gonna bring him back with the Callis family, or do something different with him?
I would hope he lands with the Hurt Syndicate,
I think they should
but
make another
he would
trade.
make a
They
great
should make
foil.
another trade
Yeah, he would make a great
for
foil
him.
to Lashley for somebody though. Also, so it just depends. But I would like to see him land with the Hurt Syndicate if they're doing what it's clear to me they're doing now. Then yeah, it would make sense.
Oh
And
yeah, they're definitely seeking out premier black athletes
yeah, so
for
I mean,
sure.
he is probably easily. I would say you could consider him number one or number two as far as that goes in AEW.
Yeah, I mean
It's
now
like
that he's healthy
Swerve,
again,
yeah, Swerve, Powerhouse. I mean,
yeah, the guys
those are
end
my
up.
two favorites anyway.
I
Um,
mean Keith Lee would be in there, but he's never healthy.
I think
Get
Keith
better
Lee. I
soon,
mean,
big guy.
yeah, please get better soon, Keith Lee, and come back and be a face again. Like you can join Swerve. We can have more Swerve in our glory against the Hurt Syndicate. I'd be
Yeah, if you can
totally
forgive
down
him.
for that. Well, I mean,
Find it in your heart to forgive Swerve for cracking that cinder block over your head.
dude, somebody burned your house down, so you kind of got what you deserved out of this whole situation. So maybe
Yeah,
we just cool now.
yeah, maybe just
Yeah,
evens out.
yeah.
All right, yeah,
All
I
right,
like it. Powerhouse Hobbs, I
Powerhouse
dig it.
Hobbs. All
I
right,
dig it.
cool.
Modern day Bad News Brown / Allen Powerhouse Hobbs. All right, generate 58.
58.
Ooh, ooh.
I don't like when you make that noise.
Number 58 is Yokozuna.
Oh man, we got
Oh,
a big man thing going
Yokozuna
on
was
today.
so good.
He was.
And I don't think he got his flowers in his time. You
No, he
go
didn't.
back, and there was stuff that he could do that nobody that weighed as much as he did should have been able to
No,
do. The guy
not
was
at
doing
all.
spinning heel kicks. The guy was doing just crazy stuff for his size.
Spinning
He had
heel
a
kicks as a
great
six hundred
belly
pound Samoan.
suplex. Yeah.
Like that speaks.
Samoan Japanese guy.
Yeah, that speaks to the strength of Samoans, man. You walk around at 600 as your walk around weight and still do spinning heel kicks. Boy, you got some legs on you.
And to hear Mark Henry tell it, he was an excellent basketball player.
I can't imagine it,
Like
dude. The same way
crazy.
I can't imagine Prince playing basketball. Like
Yeah.
it's the
But it's
same
on
way, but it's a whole
the
different. Yeah,
other end of the spectrum.
yeah, but yeah,
Um,
it's the same thing basically.
as far as a modern day Yokozuna,
Oh,
gosh.
who's
I
a big
mean,
man like that can move like that?
the one that comes to mind, he's not nearly as heavy, but we've already mentioned him is Keith Lee. Like that
Yeah.
dude's doing moonsaults and stuff, like from the second rope. He
Hmm.
doesn't even have enough room to like from like you would get from the top rope. You have more room to rotate that way. He's doing this crap from the second rope. Like
Hmm.
if you want to talk about a big, you know, plump dude who's doing stuff that they have no right doing, that's the first one that comes to mind immediately is Keith Lee. It's the reason I fell in love with that guy. Like
Yeah.
he's he's got that presence too. Like Yokozuna had that presence. I mean, you couldn't. I mean, you couldn't avoid not looking at him. You couldn't avoid looking at him because
Hmm.
he was right there and he takes up a lot of room. But like, he still had that aura about him, where it's like, oh man, this guy's a big deal. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Um. Okay. So, I generally agree with you that Keith Lee would be the guy. The only counter that I could offer, the only one in this case, it might have actually been an alternative counter for the previous one too. Is Bronson Reed, a guy way bigger than
Yeah,
he is, doing stuff he has no business doing.
he also is Polynesian.
Yes, also is Polynesian. So I mean that's kind of
So
bonus,
I
but
think he's not Samoan, he's Maori, but
yeah. But I kind
um
of agree with yours more because Keith Lee is just a phenomenal
freak athlete.
athlete, a freak athlete for his
Freak
size.
athlete. Yeah.
And
Like it's incredible.
yeah, so I think I mean I even if I have a counter to offer, I still think Keith Lee would be the one for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go with Keith Lee for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keith Lee.
On the basis of the freak athleticism for his
Yeah,
size.
just the freak athleticism versus size comparison. Yeah.
All right. So number three of our generated numbers here is going to be number 66. All right. Here's one I guarantee you would not have seen coming.
Okay.
Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker.
Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. Oh my gosh. Okay. First
Yeah.
of all, to full disclosure, preface this little part right here.
Okay.
I am a huge mark for military gimmicks because both grandpa's dad, me, we were all in the
Yeah.
military. I ever since I was a little kid, I mark out for military gimmicks. I love them all, super patriotic ones and military gimmicks. So Sergeant Slaughter was one of my favorites. Always, yeah, even when he was an Iraqi sympathizer, which was terrible, but I was a kid.
Yeah. You're a kid.
I always believed that he was a like a GI Joe sleeper agent or something during that time. But
Yeah.
anyway, but Sergeant Bailey Parker, I distinctly remember because he was the first guy that I remember coming out in like a full on like they WCW really tried to push him, man. And he
Yeah.
was good. He was good. I enjoyed watching him. But who is the modern day one? Oh, okay.
He was the first. That was the first time I ever saw anybody do Juju Katana.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He because he did
He
use a
was
lot
pretty
of.
much the one. I think honestly, he was probably the one to get credit that you would have to give credit for introducing the North American audience to a cross arm breaker.
He
That
might
was
have
the first time
been.
I'd seen. That was the first time I'd ever seen it.
He might have been because I mean I noticed like in his matches, remembering him, thinking back on him, something that maybe I'm having an epiphany about now is that he employed a lot of military taught hand to hand combat techniques in a wrestling fashion, like that, as he could employ them in a wrestling ring. So
Yeah,
yeah, he might have been the first guy I saw do a cross arm breaker because
yeah,
that's definitely something they teach us.
yeah,
So yeah, maybe he might have been the first
yeah.
guy.
Now,
Yeah.
granted, like he came on the scene in around what 94
93,
or
94
93,
ish.
94
Yeah,
somewhere.
somewhere in there.
So
I
I
remember
would
seeing
have
him
been
on
8 or
WCW
9.
Saturday night,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I so I was only 8 or 9.
Hmm.
So that's not a lot of time to see anybody else do it before then and
Right,
remember. But
right,
like he was using it as a finish. I'm like, oh, okay. I'd never seen it before. I didn't really think much of it at the time. Didn't not really thinking that it was an actual hold, like a jujitsu hold or a judo hold. But
right.
uh, as far as a modern day, um, I guess if I had to think of anybody, I guess it would be maybe what's his face in the infantry, the guy who's actually beaten Maxwell Jacob Freeman
Oh, you
twice,
talking about Captain Sean Dean?
Captain Sean Dean. That's the
Okay.
only like military gimmick now that I can think of, and
You know,
everybody does a cross arm breaker now. So like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
everybody does that cross arm breaker. He is the only, I think, active military gimmick I can think of.
yeah, like
I'm
he and the
trying to.
infantry are the only ones that I can think of. Like there are other performers who, um, they talk about their military background, but I don't think they usually work it into their gimmicks. I mean, Lacey Evans, but I don't want to give her credit for anything. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, as far as like pure brutality in the ring, I might compare her to Buddy Lee, but as far as like active right now, because I don't know where she's at, or what's going on with her.
she got released because I don't think they had anything for her. And then
Mm,
she's like, "No, I'm okay. I wanted it." I'm like, oh, yeah, okay,
okay. Well, yeah.
whatever.
But I mean, as far as that goes, yeah. I mean, Sean Dean's probably the only person I can think of that
Yeah,
that has a similar gimmick even at all right
yeah.
now. It's just not as prevalent as it once
I mean,
was.
you could make an argument that Chad Gable was in American Alpha, or not American Alpha. Yeah, not American Alpha. What's the stable he just left?
That was American Alpha.
Was that American Alpha?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that
Because
was the
now,
name of the tag team,
no, they were. Oh no, Alpha Academy was.
Alpha Academy.
Yeah, it's
You could
Alpha
make
Academy.
because he was kind of running it like a drill sergeant a little bit, right?
Yeah, a
You
little
can
bit.
make a case for it. I don't
hmm
think.
I think I'd still go
eh,
with Sean Dean. Thinking
Let's go with
about it,
Sean Dean.
yeah, I'd
Let's
go
give
with
a
Sean
little love
Dean.
to Sean Dean. You
Yeah, I
know, I
love
mean,
Sean Dean.
he's on the undercard. Let's give him a little shout out.
Yeah, he's a good Twitter follow too.
I should follow him on Twitter.
Yeah,
I
he's a
didn't
good
know
Twitter
it.
follow. He's funny.
All right.
He likes, dude, his game of like go back through his feed and like just check out his Game of Thrones reactions because he just recently started watching Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Bro, it was like some of
all
the
right.
best, some of my best and funniest Twitter interactions ever were with him while he was because he was like you see him like post after like episode 2 of the first season, and you'd be like, bro, you just wait, and then he got to the end of the first season, you're like, dude, that ain't even it, bro. Like
Nope.
just wait, like, and he just
Nope.
kept coming back like, oh my god, y'all warned me and I didn't listen, and
I'll
he's a
I'll have
great
to do
Twitter
that
follow.
then.
Yeah, he's a good Twitter
Uh,
follow.
all right. So number four that we're gonna do here, the number it's gonna generate for us is 32,
32. All right.
which brings us to the British Bulldog, Davy Boy
Davy Boy
Smith.
Smith. Ah, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I can kick this one off. I mean, obviously, the only person running that exact gimmick today would be the guy running the other half of the British Bulldogs gimmick, and that's
Yeah,
Tom. What
Tommy Billington
Tommy Billington. Yeah. So,
Jr. I guess I
yeah,
don't
I guess Junior,
know.
nephew of
Yeah.
Dynamite Kid. I think. I'm not sure if
I
it's nephew or son. I
don't
think it's
know.
nephew though. I think they said he was just like a nephew or something like that.
I can
Um,
look it up real quick.
cool. But yeah, while you do that, I can pontificate a little bit. Yeah, I mean, closest thing to one of them guys is him.
Yeah,
Um, even though his wrestling style is a little bit more like his uncle or dad, whichever one it turns out to be. He's definitely way more like Dynamite than he is like British Bulldog. But he's the one running that gimmick now, so he's absolutely
yeah,
like basically the next in line. But as far as guys with British
yeah. They
accent.
are. It's his nephew.
It's his
Yeah, it's
nephew.
his nephew.
Okay.
Yep,
Now, as far as mean guys with British accents, there's a plethora of those.
there are. There's no shortage.
No.
Um, I want to. You know what I'm gonna say here is you to me when I think of the British Bulldog, I think of both technical expertise coming out of that Stampede territory, and
hmm
also just brute strength
Yeah, he was a
from
very
the
strong dude.
English. So if we're gonna go that route, he's not an active wrestler anymore, but I think maybe the closest thing that you get to it is a Nick Aldis.
Yeah, he would be pretty close.
Like,
Um,
because that dude, I've seen that dude when he was Magnus on a TNA house show
hmm
that I went to about what in Elmira, I think it was an hour away.
hmm
And that dude, like, he didn't at that point, he was even bigger than he would, than he would eventually cut down to as the NWA World Champion. But when
hmm
he was in TNA, he was enormous,
Yeah.
and like he would just throw dudes around. I wasn't like a huge fan of his or anything like that, and he would
hmm
get better from that point in my eyes. But like that's what I think of is like that huge jacked British dude that just could perform ludicrous feats of strength. That's what I think of when I think of Bulldog. And
Hmm.
the closest thing I can think of right there, I mean, technically speaking, Drew McIntyre as a Scot is British, but he's not English. So
Yeah.
I would go. I think I'm going to go with Nick Aldis. I would submit Nick Aldis for consideration.
See, other than like the straight up gimmick, I'm trying to think of somebody who's actually active. I mean, Nick Ellis can be considered active because he's on Raw as a GM. I don't know if he's too hurt to ever compete again. He might not be.
I don't think he was hurt.
I don't think he was hurt. I think he just got hired to
I think he
WWE
just
and
took,
they,
yeah, he
yeah,
just took the opportunity to be with WWE in whatever capacity they
yeah.
wanted him, and so they stuck him as SmackDown GM, and
So
he's yeah,
yeah, with there being a possibility of he maybe getting in the ring again one day. Yeah, yeah, I mean that's
yeah,
the closest one because especially as Magnus. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
yeah, you brought that up because I mean that put my mind on that where I remember him just being this brute
yeah,
and yeah, that very
just
very Davey
jacked out of his
Boyish.
mind, like just
Yeah.
like he slimmed down a little bit, a little more
Hmm.
streamlined when he left TNA and went to the NWA and was their champion for a long time.
Yeah.
But he's still in great shape. He's
Hmm.
still a big, like 6'3", 4" dude with huge, rippling muscles and just incredible, strength. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would do. That's what I would go with.
Yeah, I'll go with him. Yeah, we
All right,
yeah.
all right. Our fifth pick here, number generated is number 21,
Right.
the Warlord.
The Warlord.
Who
Oh
is the
god.
modern Warlord?
Oh well. Let's see here. First of all, I'll say that I just met this guy a couple weeks ago. I met the Warlord. He was at an event that I worked at.
Yeah,
So I met him a few weeks back. I don't know if age has done something, but he is not as big as I thought he would be. That's not a diss on him. He's still a very big man,
he's old.
but he is old.
Everybody loses muscle mass when they get
Well,
old.
no, 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 not that. It's not that. I thought he would be taller. It's just the
Mm,
height thing. I thought he would be he's only about a head taller than I am, which is pretty tall still. But like I know some normal
yeah,
people who are taller who would be scarier in an
yeah,
alleyway than the Warlord. Even though on WWE TV is projected as terrifying, and he was, I'm sure.
yeah,
But I met him with Demolition Axe or Smash, whichever one of them that's still alive. They were there together. Um, just signing, like making an appearance, signing autographs. We had new tag belts for the company, and so they presented them. And
cool.
the heels got to be pricks to them and get some heat, and they were super
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
about it. They were very nice guys. Um, now, who the modern day warlord is, who the modern day like terrifying Lord Humongous guy is. Man, I mean, we've gone through some terrifying big guys already,
Yeah,
as far as like people that we've mentioned already in previous things. But I mean, pure ass kickery, just a mean bastard, really big, but maybe like the warlord, not always close to a title, but always a threat. Lance Archer. Gotta give it to my
yeah.
man,
That's
Lance
that's a
Archer.
pretty good one. Archer's a Archer. I feel is a lot better in the ring, but
Hmm.
he honestly though that is the spot that he occupies though.
Yeah, always a threat, but not really a
Yep.
title guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he might get a tag title out of this run. Who knows? I mean,
Well,
we
so did the
private
Powers of Pain,
party.
right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's who
I
I would
think
give it to.
that's as good as any. Like there are other big guys I could think of, but they could probably be it would probably be more analogous to others that are probably on the list. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to I don't want
Hmm.
to say like a Braun Strowman or something. It's like there's probably somebody else who's a better fit for,
Nah, if we had like,
something like
I
that.
mean, I could put forth a few on there, but in case we run across Braun Strowman or somebody that we could equate to Braun
Yeah,
Strowman, I'll just leave it. Yeah, but yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I'd say
yeah,
that's the guy.
Lance Archer could, yeah,
Yeah, because he's
Or maybe,
popular, you
oh,
know.
you know what? Actually, you know
Okay,
what?
hit me.
He, he even kind of looks a little bit like him, is Nick
Mm.
Camarado.
Yeah,
A little bit.
yeah, and,
Big,
and and
jacked, hairy dude.
and
Um,
honestly, let's be honest. I mean, the Warlord was a gimmick.
yeah,
Um, he was there. He was kind of part of Vince's circus.
yeah.
I'm
His
not trying
tag
to,
partner was better.
yeah, I'm not trying to talk
Yeah,
bad about the guy at all. He's a fantastic person.
yeah,
But he was not like always present or always over or all, like
yeah,
sometimes it was like, oh, we're pulling him out for, like there, I'm sure there were years where we just saw him at the Rumble maybe, or and that
yeah,
was it. So maybe Nick Camarado is better just for the simple fact that that's closer to the spot he currently occupies
yeah,
on the scheme of things. It's like we're gonna see him in like casino gauntlets and stuff like that, but otherwise
yeah,
we're not really seeing a lot of him.
yeah.
Kind
I
of
think
like
he's
Warlord.
currently on injured reserve, but it's not like you ever saw him doing anything
Yeah,
really,
he
except
that
putting
he
others over.
a couple maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago or so. It was sometime since the Punk thing started because I was watching when it happened, but he had like a little run there where it looked like they were getting serious, and then he was
Yeah,
gone
and then
suddenly.
it just disappeared. It's just one
Yeah,
of those start
yeah,
stop pushes that sometimes you get in wrestling, and that's
mm-hmm.
not just an AEW thing. That's been a WWE thing for a
It's an
long time.
everybody thing. Everybody
It's
does start stops, man.
Yep,
Sometimes
and
shit
there are
just ain't
lots of
working.
different, yeah, lots of different reasons why it couldn't.
Yeah.
So,
But as far as like
all
who
right,
occupies that specific, yeah, maybe Nick Camarado is the guy on that one.
yeah, let's go with Nick.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. All right, number what is this, sixth that we're
6.
doing?
Yep.
All right, generates number. Yeah, see, this is why I had you write them down because it came up with 58 for Yokozuna again.
Oh, yeah,
So we're
we
gonna
already did that
redo
one.
that one. Gonna
Okay.
redo it. Ooh, number 30 is Rick Martel.
Ooh.
Ooh, Rick Martel, baby. The
Mm.
what the great thing about Rick Martel is that you've got a lot to choose from. You've got your AWA World Champion version of Rick Martel. You've got your Strike Force version of Rick Martel. You've got the model.
Mm-hmm.
You've even got your like latter day like WCW version of Rick Martel, where he was just like in the TV title scene, and like there's lots to choose from here.
Hmm.
So when I think
Man.
of the Rick Martel, you think of somebody who's technically proficient,
Mm-hmm. A body guy.
adaptable, a body guy
A
who's
body guy.
adaptable from like a character standpoint, because the model was much different than anything else that he ever did, and
Mm-hmm.
he killed it. He
Yeah, he
freaking
did.
killed it. Um, so who's a body guy who's good in the ring and is also creatively character adaptable?
Ooh, man. That is kind of a difficult one because I'm trying to think of somebody like, because really when I think of Rick Martel, the first thing that comes to my mind was that like that was an overbearingly handsome man in his time. Like he was
Yeah.
uber
There's
like
a reason that he got that gimmick.
yeah, like
It's
people
because
like
he could have been a model.
you
Like,
said anybody on the internet can say whatever they want about me after this, but dudes know when other dudes are handsome. Okay, we
yeah,
know. All right.
yeah.
And Rick
There's no shame in
Martel,
admitting that.
that was a handsome man.
Yeah.
So who
I have
is
made
just
several mentions on this podcast in the 4 weeks we've done about how Shibata is a very handsome man.
he
Like
is. He is.
he literally before his brain got all blood clotty, he could have been, and he got kind of grizzled when he came back. He really could have been a model. He could have been. He was
Mm-hmm.
very very good looking guy. Still is.
So I'm trying to
Um,
think like who is that like super good looking dude who just adapts really well to everything he does. And there's a
this is
few.
another one where the first guy that comes to mind is actually somebody that I would bring up for somebody else.
Hmm.
So I don't want to say who it is just in case they come up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. Gosh, it's rare to have a body guy actually be like a techer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of rare. That's
Yeah, it
that's
is
what
kind of rare.
that's the part that's really getting me.
Okay, you ready for this? Because this might be a
Sure.
little controversial. This might be a hot take.
Ooh,
This might be somebody
spicy.
saying I'm doing something weird in my mind. Who knows? Maybe this is mental gymnastics that got me here. But a body guy, somebody
Okay.
who's got a pretty good physique and is a handsome
Mm,
dude. He's got some nice
yeah.
hair on him because Rick Martel
Okay.
always had a nice head of hair.
It's
Okay.
true.
And can adapt to any role he's given and has done so pretty successfully, at least over the last 5 years that I've been watching him. It's Kenny Omega.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna dispute the hair because he has some of the worst hairstyles that I've ever
I mean, okay, hey, no,
seen.
no, no. I'm not saying that his hairstyles aren't kind of dumb looking sometimes. All right. What I am saying is that he has thick and luxurious hair that most dudes,
uh,
especially me with my thinning hair, would be envious of,
yeah.
and I am envious of
Um,
it a little bit. So,
I
um,
mean, he definitely. I mean, yeah, there is a point to be made there.
mhm.
Um,
I hate him as a heel. I
I
love him as a
I
face.
I feel like you might be overselling him though, because or underselling him because like he's way better in the ring than Rick ever
I
was,
mean, okay,
and
no,
Rick
but
was
that's true.
good.
But when look, but it's that rare combination of things.
Yeah,
Like
it is. It
you're
is. Yeah,
a handsome guy and a techer.
yeah, it's
Like
true. It's true. Um.
because I mean, if I want to say
Oh.
great techer in the ring,
Oh.
we could say Zack Sabre Jr., but he's not as handsome as
Oh.
Rick
Wait a
Martel.
minute. Wait a minute. It's staring us right in the face.
Okay,
It's Chad Gable. It's
you know
Chad
what? It
Gable.
is Chad Gable. Damn it.
He's in incredible shape. He's a good
Yeah,
looking dude.
he
He
is.
can he
He's
got
conventionally
shoosh
handsome.
over
Oh
like
yeah.
it's Chad Gable, isn't it?
I mean, he
It's Chad
adapts.
Gable.
Okay, he adapts well to everything he does. Even when he's in the
Yeah,
undercard, he has serious longevity. He's a handsome guy with a really good body, and he's a techer. Yeah,
yeah.
there it is. It's
It's
Chad Gable.
it's Chad Gable. Wah
Holy shit, it's
wah.
Chad Gable. Womp womp. We actually, I like Chad Gable, even though he's a
There it
dickhead
is.
right now. But yeah,
There it
like
is.
yeah, there it is. Chad Gable is Rick Martel. Okay,
Yeah,
fair
that's
enough.
great. All right.
Right.
All right. So our number 7, I believe, yes,
Mm-hmm. We're on
is
number 7.
turns out to be number 68.
All right.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh man.
And now I'm regretting my Keith Lee choice.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, Bam
See?
Bam.
This is what I was afraid of.
Who's a bad man like Bam Bam? Man. Um. Whew.
Former bounty hunter, again, ludicrously athletic for his size. Um, Main event at WrestleMania. He did do
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
and then got kind of quietly dropped.
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
that
thanks
too.
for teaching LT how to wrestle. Here, we're gonna try and make you the number 2 babyface under Diesel.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that didn't work, did it?
Nah. Nah. Killer run in
Bam,
ECW.
Bam Bam Bigelow. Um, man, you know
That's
what's
a
making
tough
me
one.
realize is that there aren't enough fat guys in wrestling
I know, right? There's just not enough big dudes,
anymore.
super athletic big dudes.
Everybody's either small or a body guy.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
um,
It's about 6 of us left.
gosh, who's the Bam Bam? I can't say Keith Lee because I picked him for Yoko. So who do I say? Man,
I
I
mean,
mean, you got something? Because
we could use Bronson Reed. because
He could use Bronson
he's a
Reed.
big
That
guy who's
dude is
athletic and mean as
ludicrously
hell.
athletic. Yeah.
He just
I
needs to
mean,
main
he
event WrestleMania. And if he's going to be going against Seth in this program and does well, he could be main eventing WrestleMania
could be.
soon.
You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
he's occupying that upper mid card spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I mean, let's go with Bronson. I mean, let's hope that he does. I mean, the one thing that he has on Bam Bam is that he is a former title holder.
Yeah.
He was the NXT North American champion for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
there. So there's at least that he has going. Bam Bam never won a belt in WWF.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was there with them on and off for a while, and he never won anything until he went to ECW.
Yeah. Oh man, his ECW
So
run was something too. I liked it.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um
Bronson Reed. I mean, he's got the same that
Bronson Reed.
attitude. You know, that the right attitude. I could see him with a shaved head and a flame tattoo.
Yeah.
It'd be
He can
scarier
do a
than it
car
already is, and he can do
he can do
cartwheel.
a car wheel, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he
Yeah.
sure
Okay.
can.
Yeah, let's go with Bronson Reed.
All right. Sure
Bronson
can.
Reed. Upper mid card guy, big dude. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Number 8 then generating number 34.
34.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Oh man. Who's your grizzled old hand that was a grizzled old hand from day one? Um,
Um,
Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnet.
he's the youngest man alive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see. Who's our grizzled old hand these days that marks
oh
everybody?
no. Oh no, I know who it is.
Hmm.
It's Chris Jericho, isn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, I
I
would
don't
say
think
that
Greg ever got told please retire. So
true, but Jericho's also way given the breadth of his career, I think we can both say that as a valid a legend as Greg Valentine is, he doesn't really hold a candle to Chris Jericho.
no, no.
But if you're talking about the grizzled veteran, um, that's still doing. Okay, all right. Hear me out. Tomohiro Ishii. He's kind of
Yeah.
built like him. He's
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
kind
built
of
like
built the
him.
same. He can job to everybody. He doesn't really hurt his credibility.
Yeah.
He's an older guy. He's worked everybody.
And you know what? He's before, this summer he was hanging out with a bunch of weirdos in the conglomeration, and Greg Valentine hung out with big weirdo honky tonk man as rhythm and blues. Like,
He
I
did. He
mean,
did.
there are parallels. There are parallels.
Yeah.
How many dog collar matches has he been a part of? Probably not many.
Nah.
New Japan tends to do straight matches,
Yeah.
but I bet that if you could actually fit a dog collar around that thick neck of his, I bet the match that he'd have would be bloody and legendary, just like Greg Valentine and Roddy Piper in Oregon.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'd go with Tomohiro too, because yeah,
Let's go with
he
Tomohiro
has that
Ishii.
right status. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's get him in
yeah,
a
there we
dog
go.
collar match ASAP.
Put him against Murder Grandpa, and you've got me. You've got me.
His neck is so big that they could put the dog collar right, it might just slide off the top of his head.
Yeah. That's not a dog collar, that's a dog belt. All right,
All right.
number 8. Yeah.
8. All right. Lowest one so far.
All right. Number that's drawn is 19. Okay, I'm gonna take slight issue with this
Okay.
because it says the body Donnas. But
Skip and zip
but
the body Donnas?
technically speaking, Chris Candido was still wrestling in 2006 on a full-time basis for TNA when he got that horrific arm injury that got staph infected and died.
Mm-hmm.
He was still wrestling full-time in 2006. So, as much as I love this entry, I think we can. I think we have to disqualify Candido from the situation
Yeah.
based on the rules.
Yeah.
But Dr. Tom Pritchard, on the other hand, is fair game.
Yeah.
So how about we just do Dr. Tom then?
Okay, so who's
So
the
Dr.
null?
Tom was a chameleon. He was
He was definitely a chameleon. God,
he
I
was
didn't even
he was a
realize that he was a body don. I
he's a
almost forgot that.
good hand. Yeah, he was a good hand. But I think what he's most remembered for and most revered for is that he's an excellent teacher,
Yeah.
an excellent coach. So maybe that's the route that we should go. Maybe the coach route. The guy who's in there who's still doing it, but is also teaching others at the same time. So if you're giggling and I want to know why,
Who am I gonna say?
who are you gonna say?
CM Punk.
Uh,
Because you know damn well if you ask that man for help, he'll give it
hmm.
to you. And at this point, it's even out of spite because other people wouldn't take it.
See, I was going a little different route
Okay, take me on
because
this
he's
other
not
route.
wrestling now,
Okay.
but he quit after the period of time that we're talking about. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's even accurate if we're bending or breaking the rules there because he
Mhm.
is retired. But the name that comes to my mind immediately with how much he's helped the WWE women's division over the years is Fit Finlay.
Okay, that's fair.
Like and for a while there, when because they put him when they bought WCW, they pretty much put him immediately in that coach role, and then he
Yeah.
came out of retirement as an active wrestler. So he was at one point doing both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The only issue I have with my own take is that he's not currently active. So
No.
I don't know. Does that break the rules of what we were
Maybe it
going
does.
for?
We might have to go currently
Right?
active, but then I'm still thinking like CM Punk's not really the chameleon guy. He is a good
No.
teacher. I'm sure a lot of people seem to dig him over in NXT and WWE in
Yeah.
general. A bunch of the guys that he worked, Hobbs, who we mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, seemed to really like listening to him teach, and Starks
Yeah.
too. So, um, I would say as far as the coach part goes, and the still doing it part, but then you got to bring in like the character work, and CM Punk's always just been CM Punk.
Pretty
Like
much.
who imparts their knowledge to the people that it's also imparting the knowledge of character work. You know,
Yeah.
that's a difficult one.
That's difficult.
Yeah.
I want to say who is it? Who's doing it for AEW? I think she's injured right now, but is that Madison Rain? I think.
I think so.
I mean, considering she was one of the beautiful people, you gotta think that she's coaching those girls on character too, right?
I would hope. Yeah.
And she's a good hand in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's not
And
like
she's still
anything like
working. Yeah.
she's still working when she's healthy.
Yeah. But she's also
Maybe
training. So
maybe it's Madison Rain.
yeah. Oh no, you know what?
What?
I
Ooh.
got one. I got one even better. It's Serena Deeb.
Oh, of course.
Because
Yeah,
my
it's
wife
Steve.
sat there with me and watched the whole CM Punk
Yeah.
Straight Edge Society thing, and loves Serena Deeb in AEW, and did not realize that that was the same girl. So there's
Oh,
your chameleon right there,
there's your
who
chameleon.
imparts her knowledge, Deeb's dojo,
Yep.
and is still currently working and kicking ass.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, that's it. It's Deeb.
It's Deeb.
Dr. Deeb. Dr.
Dr.
Tom
Deeb.
Pritchard. Dr. Tom Pritchard. The Professor Serena Deeb. It's
Yeah,
all there.
it's all
It's
there,
all
man.
there. Yeah.
It's Deeb.
Yep. Laid it out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Number 9. Getting close to the end here. Generating a number. It's
All
really
right.
digging these 60s numbers. It gave
Isn't
me a
it?
61. And ooh, boy, is this a good one.
All right.
Beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Oh man. Oh man.
Oh,
I'm gonna try to do this
going.
without giving corny Jim a boner because I love
So
Bobby Eaton.
Bobby Eaton is one of those guys that as a kid, he's just kind of there. and you don't
Mm-hmm.
really think twice about him. And then as an adult wrestling fan going back on it, you realize that he was just so talented, so
Yes.
smooth,
So good.
so technically proficient,
Made
didn't hurt
everybody look
anybody.
like a champ, man.
Like, and sweet mullet too.
No, super
Uh,
sweet mullet. Yeah.
and and he wasn't afraid to go into the goofy realm either. Like you remember the Earl Robert of Eaton
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
yeah,
With
like
with Regal, right?
there yeah,
Yeah.
that's a guy that could literally fill any role that you asked him to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Made so what we're looking for is that fantastic all rounder, right?
Mm, yeah.
So when I think fantastic all rounder who doesn't hurt anybody, who people think is probably a day off in the ring to get in the middle of the ring with, who do I think of? Who do I think of?
Mm. Who does everybody love working?
Orton. Everybody loves working with Orton.
Mm-hmm. Can't really
Like
hurt
I'm
anybody.
not gonna lie. Okay, this is kind of a hot take. I'm not really that big a fan of Randy Orton. I think he's super boring outside of the RKO. I know that's a hot, spicy take. Everybody loves them some Randy Orton from the nostalgia vibes now. Like talk about that equity that he's built up with the audience. I understand that I'm the outlier here. I get that.
What's that? Our ratings are on fire? Oh.
Oh no. That said, people love working with Orton. He's not hurt a single person that I can think of in the ring. He's still going.
Mm-hmm.
He's slotted into every single role I think that you could possibly put him in. Like I think there's a really good case that the modern day Bobby Eaton is Randy Orton.
I got to give this one a little bit more thought because
Yeah,
I like Randy Orton as a choice, but I'm trying to think of somebody like kind of like the last one where we kind of honed it in a little bit more.
yeah,
I'm trying to think of somebody who is that same day off and hasn't hurt anybody and all that. And but I'm looking for. I mean, Bob Eaton was never the world heavyweight champion, you
no,
know.
it's true.
So who? And I mean, I'll give more points to Orton than what we've already given him. He works great in tag teams with multiple people.
Mm,
You know, he's had crappy tag teammates and good tag teammates, and still pulled a good program out of it.
yeah,
So,
makes it work.
yeah, he makes it work. Which I mean, where I give him more points in the column, even than even then. So, but who fills that same role that hasn't won the strap? That maybe kind of like Eaton with everybody, like as when we were kids. Like, I mean, of course, to hear it from anybody else who was a contemporary of his, everybody respected him and knew he was fucking great at what he did,
Yeah,
and he was the guy. So, I mean, the boys were fans of his.
yeah.
So so I'm trying to think like who are the boys a fan of that maybe the general audience is accepting
May not
of,
quite appreciate.
but
Yeah,
may not really appreciate as much as they should. Because now us, like
yeah,
really digging into wrestling, you go back and you watch a Bob Eaton match, you're like, this guy was a great, technically proficient wrestler.
yeah,
Like, he really knew how to wrestle. Um, so who do you look at and be like, man, they really do know how to wrestle. They're just not. They're just gonna get that love later when people realize how great they are.
yeah.
Um, and I'm trying to think like who's a mid card guy who has matches with literally everybody.
Oh,
Come on.
I mean, I'm thinking this may be a little bit of a stretch, but
Okay.
you could put somebody like Shelton Benjamin in that category.
Yeah, because I still think people don't appreciate him as much as they should. And
Yeah,
he's had a bunch of
like
different
he,
tag teams with a bunch of awesome people, and he's really great at it. And he's a really good mid card guy who's never won the big strap, who everybody appreciates,
yeah,
but not as much as they should. I'm sure the boys are all fans of him.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything bad about him.
I'm sure he's never hurt anybody.
Yeah,
So yeah, Shelton
maybe
Benjamin.
Shelty B.
Yeah,
Shelty B.
that may
Your modern
change.
day.
That may change
That may,
shortly.
yeah, I
He
mean,
could end up
he's
with the big strap on him in AEW at some point. I mean,
it's
you know
at
how
some
Tony Khan
point.
likes to do things.
Yeah, he
So
he does like to do
he
things.
does like to do things. So
Yeah,
he might just be like, you know what, this man deserves his flowers. He's going to have this title around his waist for a month or two.
yeah. You never know.
I didn't expect it to be off Swerve already. So here we are.
Yeah.
You know,
All right. So Shelton Benjamin. All right, last one.
last one.
What number does it generate? Number 40. Ooh,
40.
who are the modern road warriors?
Oh fuck. This is a loaded question for me. Because as we discussed in our very first Call It in the Ring segment, the Road Warriors are part of my very first memory of wrestling.
Yeah.
So, what big, beefy, brutal tag team evokes that kind of emotion from me? It's a very this kind of makes the question a little more personal than it should be for me. But I can put that I can readily put that aside if necessary. But man, that's a tough one. Who's the modern day Road Warriors? There's a lot of people pretending that they're the modern day Road Warriors.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
I I we need to set aside the part of the gimmick that they had in the 80s where they bolt to the ring and everybody flees in terror because unless you're doing the exact same gimmick, that's not going to happen.
No,
That being said, what you have left are two big dudes who beat the crap out of you, take no prisoners,
don't sell shit.
don't sell anything. So who does that leave you with?
Man.
You know who it leaves you with is War Raiders.
Oh, I mean, fucking fair. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
leaves you with the
just
War
watched it.
Raiders.
Yeah, at least you're at the work because like I'm sorry, I have a hard time calling Ray Death Row because he said such a cool name. His name
Yeah.
was fucking Raymond Death Row. Like
Yep.
he was the coolest fucking dude. Like he's a big bad man. He's fucking legitimately scary.
Yeah.
But a nice guy, like you never guess. Um, but yeah, him and Ivar, yeah, they just destroy people. What they
Yeah.
did, like a good example is what they did to Akira Tozawa this week. Like that, god dang, it was ugly in the best way. Like it was just like, oh, they killed him. They killed poor Akira. Like he's
Oh,
eating through a
boy.
straw for a few weeks. He's laid up at home. Like we're not gonna see him for a while. Otis might have to come for revenge.
Yeah.
Um, they readily and easily laid out Otis, which is
Yeah.
crazy because it's hard to get that man on his back at any point in the match.
Yeah. That dude
Um,
is rotund.
he's rotund and he's like got the muscle mass that makes it even harder for him to move.
Not
And
only
he's
that, but
still
he's short too.
yeah,
So
he's
it's all
short.
compacted in one. You can't like spread that weight as evenly
Hmm.
over a wider space
And
to
he
make
still
it.
manages to move like a madman despite all
Yeah.
of those factors. So I go Otis.
Got a
But
great
yeah, I
worm.
mean the war. Yeah, he does have a great worm. I can't do the fucking worm. Okay,
Me
so
neither. Me
but
neither.
yeah, the War Raiders are a great choice, man. I'm trying to
I
think of
think
a counterpoint, really.
honestly, I think they're the only choice because
Um,
like Cage and Archer just started teaming
yeah, I was
up.
about to say Cage and Archer are like a to be
That
determined type thing. Like, what are
yeah,
they going to look like?
yeah,
And is there going to be any longevity there? Because this whole Don Callis thing is weird. Trading for talent he didn't
yeah,
technically own and all the stuff that's going on there.
yeah.
Um, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that goes with them. I'm trying to think of. anybody else who would have any tag team from any tag team division. I'm even trying to dig into what
That's
I do
current.
know
Yeah,
about
like
NXT, who would be close. Um
AOP maybe.
AOP maybe? Yeah, I mean they got Paul Ellering,
They do have
so
Paul Ellering.
that they
I mean,
might be the closest thing, but
it's very clear that when they paired them up with Paul Ellering, that they wanted them to evoke that same kind of feeling.
yeah. The only
Uh,
thing though about AOP which separates them in my mind from somebody like the Road Warriors is that the Road Warriors were never anybody's bitch. The Road
well,
Warriors were never anybody's fucking attack
not only
dog,
that,
you
I
know?
mean, but Hawk and Animal were still personalities. They still had distinct
Yeah.
personalities.
Yeah. Akam
And
and
Akam
Razor
and
don't
Razar
have that.
have no personalities. They're
No.
just big wrecking balls
Yeah. They're
that
somebody's
do as they're
dogs.
told. Yeah.
Yeah, then Ellering was a good mouthpiece for those two guys, but those two guys were good mouthpieces on their own.
Yeah.
So they were not just Ellering's attack dogs. They were the
Right.
fucking Road Warriors. And I can't say that about ALP.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, yeah, I'll strike them.
Yeah.
Um, but
I
as
mean,
far as who else is close, no, it's the War Raiders.
I think it's War
Raymond
Raiders.
Death
Yeah.
Row is legitimately one of the most terrifying men in wrestling today. And after what they did to Akira Tozawa, it's just more terrifying. The fact that Ivar, at his size, can move in the fashion that he moves is
Yeah.
terrifying, also. Like, that guy does cartwheels and backflips and shit just standing. Like, I can't
Yeah.
do a cartwheel. like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if people looked at him, me next to him, not knowing who either one of us are, they'd be like, you're in better shape because
Mm.
he's bigger than he's got a bigger gut than I got. It's what it is. But he can also do a standing back tuck with that gut, and I can't.
No, I
So
can't. I can barely put on my socks anymore without
right,
straining.
right.
Like,
So yeah, those guys are terrifying. Like Raymond Death Row is. I mean, it may be. I might be a little biased on this one because I've met him in person, but he's a terrifying dude. He's a big
yeah,
terrifying. Maybe Brody King and Buddy Matthews could have been put in here if they were booked better
yeah.
because they're about the same
Maybe.
terrifying wise. I mean, Buddy Matthews is just jacked. Brody King's just terrifying.
Yeah,
And they could definitely pull off a Road Warriors s gimmick if they were booked to. But
yeah.
I think the House of Black Ball hath been fumbled, and
Um,
we'll see.
I think it can be recovered,
I mean,
but
I think it can.
it's not the same. I mean, even if you added Buddy Matthews in there, like just because Hawk was the one who jumps from the turnbuckles in the Doomsday Machine doesn't necessarily mean he was a high flyer. Like
Yeah,
Buddy
yeah,
Matthews is a different kind of athlete than Hawk ever was. I mean,
yeah,
Brody King would obviously be the animal of
yeah,
that tandem, but like Hawk was never. He was still another big power dude. Is the thing. He just
yeah.
happened to be taller and a little bit more nimble on the ropes. That's
Mm-hmm.
really the biggest difference. That's why he was the one who leapt off the top rope, because he could do it, not
Yeah.
because he could do anything else off the top
Right.
rope.
Right. I mean, we only
So
ever saw him fly off the top rope for the Doomsday device, or that one time he flew off the Titantron. Um.
he was pushed by draws.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
he
He
was
wasn't.
he that was an attempted murder.
Okay, we're about to have a Han shot first situation here because no, he was not. He fell. Draws didn't even touch him. Draw shot first.
But yeah, draw shot first. But
Oh
yeah,
man,
I think that was really fun.
that was
And
fun. I enjoyed
if we
that.
ever decide to do anything quite like this again, I still have this list, so we can just keep the ones that we crossed off. we
Hmm.
can we can do this. Yeah, if I'm feeling lazy, we'll do this again.
Heck
How
yeah,
about that?
I'm down to do it whenever. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
That was fun.
Heck yeah. Well,
All
as
right.
usual, that was us with the Smark Foundation podcast. I thank you guys for listening. We will be out next week, same time, right before Raw comes on, or sometime during the day before Raw comes on. It all depends on processing time. But yeah, we'll have that podcast out every Monday as usual. Catch us at Smart Foundation Podcast on Linktree for all of our goodies, our YouTube channel, which coming up over Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll have these segments booked into smaller chunks so that you can digest easier or just listen or check out our cool Outrunners 80s inspired screens for a couple of hours. Whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. Make sure to check out our merch store and catch you some Spark Foundation podcast. All proceeds go to helping the podcast get better. Um, I'm Aaron.
I'm Adam.
Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next time.